Hello and welcome to Soul Babes Craft and Creations. I am Louise and today is Wednesday, May the 28th. I will start with today's quote of the day. And it is, "No one can be wise all the time." Excuse my heavy breathing. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather today, but there again, it's gotten a bit gloomy outside, so not surprising. Yeah, how can you be wise all the time? So, right, let's get on with today's video. Now, today, as I said, is Wednesday, so we are at Work on a Whip Wednesday. How far did I get the last week's one? Not as far as I'd hoped, so I will show what I've done. My little bag here. Well, this part that I've been working on is in this little bag. There is a slightly bigger bag with the first half that's already been done. So, well, first part already been done. So here we go. Right, here's my what's left of this current skein of yarn that I'm working with. I'm now trying to find my. It's a long one. Trying to find my marker of where I started, and I've lost it. Oh, there it is. So there we go. There's our marker of where I started. So there we go. And I have done from there to there. Up here is the number of rows I've done, which is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rows I have done, and I've completed, because that one's only part of the row that I'd started. So there's what it was prior to it, and then everything past it is what I've done. Now, as you can see, it's quite a long piece, because this is the floor to shoulder, back to floor of the dust cardigan that I'm working on. This is for my daughter, so that's how much I've done. I had hoped to get a bit more done, but with the fact that I had the grandson here last week, actually sort of meant that a lot of it didn't get done quite as much as I had planned. So we will see what happens. That bag had fallen on the floor. See what happens as to when I draw it out again, as to whether or not I can get more on it. So I'll put it there to one side. Now then, so that was number 4, which is there. Now I will put that back into, sorry, yeah, as was stated in Mondays and Tuesdays, my finger is very, very sore, and I'm having to keep every day for a little while putting a cover on it to protect it. So, right, I'm going to put number 4 back in the pot, and we'll give it a good shake and see whether what gets picked out this week. So I have only got up to number 10 in here, or 11 in here, so we'll see what I pick out. Okay, let's collect them all, and whichever one is my last one will be what I choose. Sticking to my fingers. No one wants to go. Okay. Oh, we have number 5, which is the kaleidoscope blanket. Okay. I'm going to pause the video and go and get it, and we will see what I've got to do on that one and how much I've got to do. Can't quite remember. I think it's only a few rows, but we will have to have a look and see. So, see you in a few minutes. Okay, I'm back, and here we go. This is the kaleidoscope blanket. Let's get it out of its thing. This is the yarn I'm using. So we've got Yarn Smiths Create Aran, and we've got teal and claret red and purple orchid. Is the 3 colours that are in here. So right then, let's see what we've got, how far I've got. Now this is a pattern by Fibre Spider, and you work from the centre, which is where my marker one is, that my thing there is. So you work from the centre and you work out. Now I'm going to leave it as half white, half folded, because it is quite big already, but you sort of work out on this so far. Right, now then, I'm on a red strip at the moment. That's my current point of finishing. So I've done 1, 2, 3 rows. I need to do need to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. So I need at least 2 more rows of red to finish that one. I've then got to do I've got to do either a change of direction purple or a bordering purple. I think I've got to do a bordering purple, because I don't want it to be full size blanket. This is for a friend. So I think I've got to do actually I've got to do more than that with the red, because previous red row was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, I need to do 4 more rows of red, and then 5 rows of purple. I don't think I'll do it as a change of direction. So I've got at least 9 more rows to do to complete this. Yeah. So, okay, let's see how much of it I can do. Trying to decide, can I put some of this on or not? I think I will. I think I will change camera angle and I will record a little bit. I might have a little bit of a chat. So I'll see you in a minute. And welcome back. So, right, just had to watch a little bit of the tutorial by Fiber Spider just to remind myself of what I was doing and how I do it. So, this is where we're starting at, is where this is at. Now, what I'm going to do is take that one out for the minute and that one out for the minute because they're going to be in the way while I work. But let's get myself started. So I will make a slip stitch on my hook. I'm using 5.5. Is it going to focus? Going to focus on me? Okay, just about see it. 5.5mm hook. It's not a clover, it's a generic one that is part of the set that I originally bought when I first started. Now going to nearly 10 years ago. And it's ones that I've quite happily used. I don't tend to have many problems with any of the hooks that I've used, so I will stick with it. So let's see, what have we got? Let's start here. Now I'm going to do a standing double crochet start here. No, I'm not. I'm going to start by doing a just general join because I need to do 6 chain start. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we go into the 4th chain. Now I will work into the back of the chain because that's the way I like to work on these. So into the back bump, and you do your double crochet, then into the next back bump and do another double crochet into the next one, which will be the last one. Try and see it, unfortunately, because it's dark yarn. Can't quite see it properly. There we go. So we've got our block, and then we attach it to the other side like so, and then we're working. Now in this case we're working up the steps, but when we go to the next corner we start working down the steps. Or that's how I look at it, as I look at these as being steps. So this one we're going up, so in that case, here we go, we chain 3, so 1, 2, 3, although am I doing 3s? Have a look. No, I'm actually doing 2s, so let's take out 1. Been working as 2s rather than 3s, so purely because my chains end up being rather big and loose. So 2, and then we do 3 more double crochets into that edge double crochet. So 1, 2, and 3, and then we slip stitch into the top of the next step. Chain 2, 1, 2, double crochet 3 times into that same side double crochet, into the next step. Slip stitch into the next step. There we go. So we work all the way along. Right, I will just work on this and have a chat, if I can manage to do so. You don't have to. I'm not doing this as a tutorial because Craig at the Fibre Spider is certainly a much better person to go and get the tutorial from. Now, okay. Sorry about the the dog. That's my next door neighbour's dog, and they are currently out. And unfortunately, the dog gets very how can I put it? She's a rescue dog, so she gets anxiety about being left on her own. I mean, as I say, my neighbours have probably either gone out to go and pick up the children from their youngest from nursery, or have probably gone shopping. It's one or other of those, because they very rarely leave the house, purely because the dog gets quite upset when they leave the house. But that's the way it is. They've now had the dog at least 3 years, probably even 4 years, and the dog has been. I think it was when before they had her, because they've not had her as a puppy, they had her as an adult dog. I would say that the chances are that she was probably abandoned at some point or other, and because of that she has anxiety thinking that she's being abandoned, even though that isn't the case. But unfortunately that's the way it goes, and they do have to go out and do their normal things. I mean, they take her out often for walks, but yeah, she it's just anxiety, and there's not a lot they can do about it. They have been to the vets, and the vets have said, well, she's an adult dog, and really there isn't a lot that they can do to curb the behaviour now. So they do their best to limit their times of going out and when they go and how long they're out for. But they like I say, they have children that go to different schools, so they have different things to go and pick, different places to go and pick up at the same time. So it means that they've got to go. Both of them have got to go out at the same time to pick up children from different schools. So, but here we go. Right. Anyway, as I said, had the grandson here last week, which did mean that I didn't get as much done as I had originally planned. Because it's not easy to do much when you've got a 3-year-old running around your house, or well, in our case, because we actually keep him most of the time in this living room, which is it's more or less the biggest room in the house, and it's the one that's the safest to be in. So he spends most of his time here, And when he's here, it does mean that I can't do recordings because I have to completely change the positions of everything to do those recordings. And it's not conducive to have the recording stuff about while he's wanting to run around the front room. So I have to put everything away. All my crafting stuff has to be put out of reach. And the only real time I have of being able to do any of the craft is usually once he goes to bed, but this time there's been a significant change in his normal behaviour for bedtime, where in the past it wouldn't have mattered having the lights on and having noise and music and whatever around. He's been a little bit I don't know whether it's anxiety or whether we because in our family there is a long standing trait of ADHD and autism in both sides of the family, but certainly a lot in my side of the family. And I mean, both my sons are ADHD. My youngest is autistic. Both of the sons have epilepsy. I suspect my daughter is on the autistic spectrum somewhere, but was never diagnosed. I think she was a high functioning autistic. She certainly displays a lot of the traits of that particular case. So chances are, with the fact that both my sons are, chances are that she is too. And as the grandson is her son, chances are, yeah, ADHD, autism on that side. His father is also ADHD and autistic, so, and has only recently been diagnosed, so he's and the grandson is starting to display the similar traits of delays. He certainly has speech delays, although that's starting to come along. But he certainly has behavioural situations where he will throw a tantrum for no reason, and sometimes it's hard work. And with my own health being very difficult, it's meant that him being like that this last time he was here also meant that I stressed out quite considerably. And as I said, with the situation where he ended up this time round having to have the room completely dark, and as he was in the front room here with me, in our living room, and that was his bed was set up in this room as well. it meant that I had to have it completely dark, which means that I couldn't see, I couldn't do any crafting of my own, and with no music or anything other than his white noise music to help him go to sleep. Just a second. Sorry about that. My phone going off with a suspected spam as usual. But I forgot to silence my phone before starting this recording. And yes, that was Rick Astley as my ringtone. But never mind. Just happened to like Rick Astley and have done since the beginning. But there we go. Anyway, as I was saying, because it's ended up being that it was dark and no sound, I mean, that's not too much of a problem. I can put headphones in and him not hear anything, but it was just difficult to be able to do any crafting which I would normally do when he goes to sleep. I couldn't do it, so it meant that I didn't get as much done as I had originally planned. But we'll see what happens the next time he's here, which now will be end of July, beginning of August, because my daughter is trying to get him into the position of being ready to start nursery possibly in September. So rather than coming to nanny's as he has been sort of monthly, it's now going to be at what would normally be holiday times. So we are half term this current week, and we would normally have had him this week, but because it was his birthday last week, it was decided that when we went for his birthday party, we would bring him back here with us on the same day and then have him for that week rather than this coming week. But from now on, it will be half-term holidays and the term holidays that we have over here in the UK. So we have the summer holiday, Christmas holiday, Easter holiday, and then let's say the two half-term, the half-term weeks, the 1 week in the middle of each of the terms that we have. So that's 3 weeks in the year. Yes, he won't be coming to nanny's quite as often. And the next planned one is the end of July, which happens to be the first week of what would be normally a summer holiday. He's probably going to come for a week, maybe a little bit longer, and then he will then go home and spend the next 4 or 5 weeks at home, then come back to us for the few days before September, so that's sort of the last week in August, and then he will then go back, and the next time we will then see him will be the half-term holiday, which will be around Halloween. So yes, it will be, won't quite see Nanny quite so much, and Nanny can't get over to go to theirs quite often, purely because of Nanny's health. Grandad goes over once a week, goes to help out with bits and pieces over there, so they'll see Grandad, and he'll see Nanny on video call, because my daughter generally rings me on a video call pretty much daily. Mum, can you help me with this? Mum, can you help me with that? Yeah. Mum, what can you suggest about what should I do with this? Okay. I'm used to it. I do that for all my kids. If they call me up and say, "Can I help? Can I do something?" I'll do what I can to help. Not that I can do much physically anymore, but and then if it's anything that's needed to be done physically, then more than often they're more capable than I am. But sometimes they just need a little bit of direction to get them in the right frame of mind. But yeah, she's so he'll see Nanny, but it'll be video call rather than in real life. More often now. And yes, so that's the grandson situation. My health, well, that's gradually getting there, with me now being back on the medication that I should have been on, that I'm supposed to be on for life, because it's a hormone replacement, because I had my thyroid removed 13 years ago, and I'm supposed to be constantly taking this thyroxine replacement. But being 6 months without it has caused quite a dip in my health. So I already know that it's going to be 6 to 8 months before my body will be back to any kind of normality. And then after that, I will then go back to trying to exercise and lose weight again. That's something that has been difficult most of my adult life. When I was a kid, I was skinny as a rake, and I could eat anything, and my stomach was literally a bottomless pit. I could eat anything and everything and not put on an ounce of weight. That all changed once I started having children. Then I started putting on the weight and couldn't get rid of it. But I am determined to lose the weight that I am currently at. I'm not expecting to get back down to my ideal weight, but if I can, I'll try. But I need to at least lose some of the weight, because I'm currently classed as morbidly obese. And bearing in mind that I already have serious health issues, I don't want my weight being another health issue that's going to cause even more complications to my current health situation. So yes, it's something is going to have to be worked upon to deal with it. Right, I'm nearly at the next corner. So like I say, we're currently going up the steps on this one, so one more double crochet. Nearly missed it. Okay. And then slip stitch to that one. We go 1, 2, 3. into this one. 1, 2, and 3. Slip stitch to the top of there. Right, now we need to make 5 on the top of here, so we start by doing our chain up. So chain 2, do our 3 double crochets as normal, so it's 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to be working back down the steps, so we chain 2, 1, 2, slip stitch down, and then, because I will now be working down to this one here, we go down, but we're doing double crochets down, so we go 1, 2, and 3, and then we chain our 2, 1, 2, slip stitch into that, and continue. So into the next one, double crochet 3 times, so 1, 2, 3, chain 2, slip stitch, next step. So there we go. So 1, and 2, and 3, chain 2, slip stitch into the same place, down to the next step, double crochet. There we go. So yes, with my health, that's the situation that I'm now waiting for scan appointments to do a checkup on what's going on with the cancer, which is, as I say, that's one of the serious health issues that I currently have. Excuse me, I'm going to move the blanket round. There we go. Right. Right, I'll probably do a few more steps and then we'll talk a little bit longer, and then I will be having to come off because I've noticed that my camera lens is starting to maneuver again. So, right, yeah, so the situation is that I'm currently waiting for scan appointments. Don't know how long that's going to be, but that's what I'm currently waiting for on that situation on my health. My son's health, as in the youngest one, it's getting there. He finally saw the psychiatrist last week, and it's currently been decided that we'll just continue to monitor, try and get him back into some kind of routine, even if that means it's just some basics. Like I say, he is ADHD and autistic, and at the even though he's 19 or 19 and a half years old, his mental capacity is of 9-10-year-old. So the chance of being totally independent is a long way off, and may never happen, but we are doing our best to try and encourage some kind of independence, getting him to do bits and pieces himself. He's now started being able to use the air fryer to cook basic bits and pieces. He doesn't want to use the oven, which is okay by us, because in reality, if we could, we'd not use the oven ourselves. We would probably prefer to use the microwave or the air fryer. But you can't do, well, up until now, or up until the last sort of couple of years, a family of 6 cannot really be cooked in a very small air fryer or anything like that. It takes too many things to do it. So the oven has been, up until the last couple of years, been the thing that we use all the time. But he is scared to use the oven, not particularly keen on using the hob for doing anything either. And I can understand why. He's worried that he's going to burn himself, which shows that he has some kind of understanding, but to him, he doesn't feel pain. So he wouldn't know that he'd burnt himself until it was blistering, or he wouldn't know that he's cut himself when using the sharp knives, because he doesn't feel it. It's not until there's blood pouring out everywhere that he realizes he's cut himself. And that's what makes it very difficult for him. Anyway, right. As I can see that my lens is moving further and further, so I'm going to have to deal with it. So, with everything being said, thank you for watching. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Love and kindness to everyone. Bye for now, and I'll see you all soon.